Good afternoon and welcome to this special edition on the panel discussion on a matter that touches daily lives of millions of Zimbabweans, the safety, dignity and rights of commuters using public transport system. My name is Kudzanai Sharara. So the Consumer Protection Commission recently issued a public notice expressing deep concern over the growing trend incidents where transporters, operators and their tools are pushing, intimidating or misleading commuters into boarding buses they do not wish to board. This behavior, according to the Commission, is not only unacceptable, but it is a clear violation of the Consumer Protection Act. As schools close and travels surge, this issue has become even more urgent. To help us unpack this problem and chart the way forward, we have assembled a panel representing the regulators, the passengers, and the transport operators themselves. So I'll be introducing my guests, starting with from the Consumer Protection Commission, Mr. Mudereri. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you so much. Welcome viewers, our listeners. We are happy to be here and we are really excited. We want to thank Zim Papers for organizing this program, which we hope is going to go a long way in alleviating some of the challenges that our commuting public is facing. Otherwise, thank you. Indeed.
And we also have from Zutco, that's Mr. Maguraminga. Mr. Maguraminga, welcome to the program.
Yeah, welcome, Ms. Sharara, and welcome, viewers.
Thank you. We also have, again, from the transport operator side as well, we have got the Zimbabwe Passenger Transport Organization representative, Mr. Chigome. Welcome to the program.
Yes, good afternoon, viewers. I'm happy to be part and parcel of the panel.
Thank you. And earlier on, I said that there is that one person, that passenger who is being forced, intimidated, and misled into boarding probably transport that they do not wish to board. And their representative is here in the studio. That's Mr. Tafagwa Goliath, who is with the Passenger Association of Zimbabwe. Mr. Goliath, welcome to the program. Thank you. Tinokugamuchirai. Tichitanga chirongwa chedu first from the Consumer Protection Commission, the statutory body responsible for safeguarding consumer rights. We have Mr. Mudereri, as I said, and thank you, sir, for being here. And now let's begin. Let's start with you, Mr. Mudereri, from a regulator's point of view. Your commission issued a strongly worded notice citing deep concern for the benefit of our audience. Can you clearly explain this particular notice and what specific behaviors are you seeing on the ground?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Sharara. Like what I said, we are really excited if we have these programs, and I hope that we are going to have more of them. Otherwise, we are coming from the Consumer Protection Commission, which is a statutory body which was established through an act of parliament, the Consumer Protection Act, Chapter 1444. And we are really also happy that this act was enacted in 2019. And we want to give credit to the Second Republic, led by our President, His Excellency Dr. Idim Nangagwa, for ushering in this act, which is very critical for everyone. Yes. Because when we are talking about consumers, basically, we're talking about everybody, starting from the President up to a child who has just been born either today or yesterday. So they are all our consumers. So what has happened is that if you look at the Consumer Protection Act, basically we are talking about prior to 2019, there was no law. So it is these consumers who complained that we are just talking about consumer rights, but there's no teeth to bite those who violate those consumer rights. So that's why government now decided, to be specific, the Second Republic say, let's have a law that now, which is now the teeth, where the commission was established now as that body, which is supposed to ensure that that Consumer Protection Act is implemented and is implemented to the spirit and letter of what is supposed to be achieved as a country. I think we'll talk more about why do we need these things, why do we need consumer protection. I think we have got a vision as a country, Vision 2030, where we want to be an upper middle income economy by 2030. We've got also our developmental aspirations in terms of national development strategy too. All those, they're embedded in 6 of them. Consumers have the right to choose, right to information, right to fair contractual agreements, right to health and safety, right to redress, right to information. So those are rights. But I'll zero in on 2 of them, which are the subject matter of today. So when we are talking about consumers, they cut across the broad spectrum of society. We're talking about passengers today. That's why I'm starting with passengers. Yeah, so passengers are consumers. So for us, we define them as committing consumers, or these commuters, the people who travel for transport. So if you look at the Act, there are 2 sections which are key to what we are discussing today. The Section 18, which talks about the right to choose. Then for Section 35, which talks about the right to fair contractual agreements. So those are the 2 key sections that we are going to talk about today to deal with the issues that passengers are facing on a daily basis. But then to zero in, now we're talking about the public notice that we issued. If you go to Section 18, Section 18 says that every consumer has got a right to choose goods or service of their preferred choice without any undue influence or force by a supplier or a market. So that's the starting point, Section 18. So it's giving consumers the right to choose. But we have noted, is what we've highlighted in the notice that we gave, that consumers are being forced to board buses that they don't want to board. If you go to 4th Street, you go to Mbudzi, you go to Showground. It's very embarrassing as a country. If we sink so low, amai vakabereka mwana vari kuzvoviwa, bhegi riri kuzviwa, bhegi radamburwa, sketi yadamburwa, all those nefarious activities, to the extent vamwe vari kubirwa in the process. So there are a lot of embarrassing things which are happening. And I think I'm happy that the transport operators are here. We are going to summon them to our offices so that we do these things and we do them once and for all. We are also going to rope in the police so that it's a multifaceted under the whole of government approach. So we want to bring everybody on board to say, are you yourself, the transport operators, not embarrassed? Because if we sink so low as a country, I think the answer is no.
Okay. So maybe before we delve more into the discussions, let me look at the Consumer Protection Act, especially maybe if you can elaborate a bit on Section 35.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. The reason why I talked about Section 35 talks about consumers' right to fair contractual agreement. But then if you go to that Section 35, subsection 2, then it says that suppliers are prohibited. These are your suppliers, these are your marketers,
the
transporters, everyone is prohibited from using coercion, from using intimidation, undue influence, physical force, or unfair tactics in the supply of goods or service. So it's both goods or service. So the transport operators, they are now the service providers. Yes. So that's your Section 35, subsection 2. It says that. But we'll talk more about the penal provisions, because they are now provided under subsection 4.
Okay. Yes, so let me bring in this case, I'm calling them the complainant. These are the commuters. And you are representing passengers, Mr. Goliath. Maybe some people might say the Consumer Protection Commission just woke up and started talking about these things. Maybe from your experience, what has been the experience on the ground from the commuters themselves? What has been the experience in terms of the abuses that they face?
Chinoitika ndechekuti nyaya yecompetition ndoda kutaura ndakanangana nemabhazi ndokune ruzha rwakawandisisa nekugeda kwemeno. Competition iriko chinoitika, kune vatinoti mawindi vanolodha mabhazi, vanenge vane target kuti vakalodha mabhazi vanopuwa mari vanhu ivavo. Kana vasina kulodha mabhazi havavone mari. Saka vakanga valodha mabhazi vanopuwa mari, valodha bhazi 1 voverengerwa mari yavo. Ndo dambudziko guru iroro. Kana semuenzaniso tichienda kumasvingo, tikaenda kwaboka vanhu ivo vanenge variko, kumbari vanenge variko, chinozoitika ndechekuti mabhazi awandisa. Kuwanda kwaita mabhazi, mumwe nemumwe anenge achida kuwana vanhu vachienda kuruti imwe chete, ndo panotanga kudhonzwa vanhu. Ipapo poita kuti vanhu vange vachikuvara, munhu apuhwe nguva yekutanga achisarura bhazi raanoda kukwira kana kuti raanofunga kuti ndo raanoda. Achingosvika pabhazi anotanga kutongodhonzerwa zvinhu, utopinzwa bhazi nechisimba. Ndo pane dambudziko ratinaro nemawindi, nekuti vanokumbunyikidza iwe usingadi kukwira bhazi iroro. Pane rimwe raunenge usingadi kukwira, pamwe unenge wakamborikwira usina kubatwa zvakanakisisa. Saka paunobva kumba unobva wakaronga nzendo kuti ndichanokwira bhazi rakati ndo rinondiitira, kana kuti rawakanzwa kuti ndo rinondiitira. Saka chinoitika chacho ndechekuti vanozodhonzerana vanhu, vamwe vanenge vachikuvhiringidza pakukwira bhazi ipapo kuti unge uchikasika kuti upinde mubhazi rausingadi kuti upinde. Vanoiti jeki, iwe chiwana chidobi chivanoti jeki, wakarova jeki wotibva watopinda mubhazi. Malageji angona kusara panze ipapo, utaura kuti malageji angu asara, kana kuti unotongona apinzwa mubhazi imomo, kana unogona kutoshaya zvinhu zvimwe zvotodhisapiya kana kuti zvotoshayika. Saka dambudziko riripo panyaya yemahwendi, kuti havazive chinonzi customer care, kuti chinonzi customer care rinorechi kwavari hari existe. Vanotongoti kana vazaza bhazi zvavo zvatoita, wobva ipapo woenda pane rimwe. Saka anenge ari makundano, mabhazi anenge akawandisa, vanenge ari makundano, anenge razazwa rotoenda. Ndo patine dambudziko ndingangoti nemahwendi nemaoperator anoshandisa mahwendi kuzaza bhazi.
Ndopandanga ndada kubvunza kuti mahwendi aya arimbori ani? Regai ndipinze vema-transport operators. Let me bring into the conversation a gentleman representing the buses as well as the combis, as we know them here in Zimbabwe. When people see these towels and mawindi, ataurwa na Goliath, they often associate them with yourselves. Maybe let's hear from your own perspective. Why is this aggression happening, Mr. Maguraminga?
Thank you very much, and I want to thank even the Consumer Council, or the Commission, for actually clarifying and making everything clear for us. Windies, the name itself is illegal. We have marshals in the ranks. But now let me start from this point where I have to make it very clear that it is illegal for someone to conduct duties for the driver or on behalf of the transport operator without being formally employed. It is illegal. Activities of collecting money, activities of dealing with customers who are the passengers, whether they want to get into the bus or they are in the bus or combi. These activities are only lawful when they are being done by the driver and conductor, who may be having a badge or actually any identifiable regalia. But what we have right now is a wide door that has been opened for people to make money in the ranks. So we can beat about the bush, actually spending more time without getting to the root cause. The root cause is that we don't have a system. You go to Bulawayo, you don't find all these things. Why? Because there is a system. Public transport needs a system. If we don't have a system, where are we going? Associations must sign service level agreements with the city council, who will be actually overseeing, supervising and monitoring the commuting of our public, because the residents are in the hands of the city fathers. We are regulated transport operators. We are regulated through the Urban Council Act, through the Road Motor Transport Act. So as I speak, who should we actually apprehend? Everyone runs away. No one is here. There is no one here. All these people who are here, they are not responsible for this. So what I can say is that if we have a system definitely where associations are also registered, are also having a statutory instrument, where they are also empowered. That empowerment is not to actually victimize people. The empowerment of associations is to make sure that we have good self-regulation within ourselves, where in the ranks, if we say there are marshals, they must actually maybe falling under an association of their choice. And that way they can have badges, they can have identifiable regalia. That way a committing public can actually seek help. For example, the routing system can seek assistance. For example, the timetables can seek assistance. But as it is, we will always be speaking about this, and I've attended this for a long time. The City Council knows what to do. We may say ZRP, but how does ZRP enforce where there is no system? We need a system that safeguards our people. We need, I'm happy that lastly, without taking much time, we have got the commission right now. It's high time they also get on board and join hands with the Tireless Working Passenger Association of Zimbabwe, such that we get to the reviewing of the legal framework. For example, touting is illegal, but the word touting itself does not actually clarify or make it easier for somebody to understand what is it that is being actually violated, which is not wanted. For example, the law must say you shall not harass passengers, which means harassing is in any way. Harassing can be harassing women, can be harassing in the form of words and manhandling, fighting. But now the wording on the law itself needs to be actually corrected from touting, because touting is not clear. It seems as if touting is a driver is a touter, a conductor is a touter, but when the police enforce a law which actually enforce them or mandate them to deal with people who are harassing passengers, always someone will go to court for harassing. But as it is, it's not clear.
Mashoko Makukutu, interesting insights there shared by Mr. Maguraminga. And from what he's saying, it seems like they, as the transport operators, they also do not want to work with touts. But we have seen, Mr. Chigome, to bring into the conversation, we have seen operators even paying these touts, even paying these windies, which means in a way you are engaging the windies and the touts to do work for you, to load the buses for you, and at the end they harass passengers. Do you feel like what you were saying? Do you feel powerless to deal with these touts, or you're actually happy that you have them to load the buses and the commuters or minibuses?
Thank you so much. Let me bring back our discussion to the root cause of this. The transport industry was regularized from 1980 maybe to 1997, where there was deregularization of transport. Why? Because there was black empowerment. So when there was this deregularization, it meant that there are a lot of new players coming into the industry. As the new players were coming into the industry, what was happening? More buses were coming into the industry. So as the more buses were coming into the industry and the control is now lacking, then because of competition, one will employ maybe mawindi sekutara kwatiri kuita kuti varume pakutoita competition kapa mabhazi awanda, but kudhara kwaizikamwa kuti bhazi rinobva kwaMutare rosvika rotopaka roenda kwarinoenda rozomirira kuuya, but nenyaya yekuti mabuses akabva atanga kuwanda, maoperators achiwanda, then this competition yakabva yauya. But as much as we operators will be blamed, izvezvi ndikati ndiende kumbare tinonopinda tiri 16 mabuses ari kufanirwa kuti abude ese nenguva imwe chete, pamwe ari 5 achifanirwa kubuda na7 o'clock. Chii chinoitika ipapo? Isusu taiziva kuti kudhara macancels airaniwa necity council, but as we speak I don't think kuti pane rengi iri kuraniwa necity council. Kune torine vari kurana maranks iyayo. Atiri kufungira isusu kuti ifi zvikaitwa zvine proper mabuses vanhu vanogona kuve nesystem inogona kutova chiti munhu can pre-book anoenda pane ofisi yekambani yebhazi raari kuda ototenga tiketi rake raanoziva kuti chero muna December ndinonosvika ndichikwira handidhonziwi. But tikaenda kuMbare, ini ndongopa example yeMbare, hapana paunowana pekuti pane kambani inofanirwa kuti ine ofisi yaunoti iyi, but unongowana mabhazi akamira. So I think tinogona kurwa tigodii, but tikadzidza kubva kune dzimwe nyika kuti mumarengi chii chinoitiwa, tinogona kuona vabereki vedu vachikwira mabhasi zvakanaka nekungoregulariza mitemo. Ukangove straightforward pane dzimwe nguva mitemo yakawandisa zvayo munyika, asi inogona kutadza kuenforcewa maenforcerwa ainofanirwa kuitwa.
Maybe as a follow-up to both of you gentlemen, the transport operators, we have seen in the past where the Harare City Council, for example, have established ranks outside the CPT. I think there's one along Coventry Road, if I'm not mistaken about the road. What has happened to those facilities? Why are transport operators not using those particular facilities? Yes, Mr.
We are using that facility, but I want to admit that previously, just after its commissioning, it was not used properly because there was corruption that was happening there. When a driver drops passengers at a dropping zone in town, he goes or she goes to the holding bay. He or she expects accountability where the queue is managed very well. Because sometimes when vehicles are there with their drivers, when you come to the rank, you find out that other vehicles are already in front of you. They have come through the back door. So this is how this holding bay, good idea, good facility, but it was not used properly because there were gaps where certain elements were able to get funds or $1 or a 50 cents from a driver. Then we would actually lift up the boom gate. So that was the problem that we have. But thanks to the introduction of associations, the president, we thank His Excellency. Definitely we have to, because he said operate through associations. And this is what we are doing. We are now self-regulating ourselves without a statutory instrument. We are actually driving our vehicles to Kokong Holding Bay. Go right now, you're going to have a pleasing picture for journalists and for your media house. Because there are so many buses, combis actually there, but you don't see the council. I don't know to speak for the council, but this council must be there where we are, because we are paying the rent disc. We are paying whatever that we need to pay to the council. Where there is no enforcement, I cannot arrest someone. I cannot enforce council bylaws. The council must be there in the rank. The council must be there at the holding bay to make sure that there is order. Where you see radios being used to call vehicles. We are not meant to rank as you see every day, where you see thousands of vehicles at Copacabana, 4th Street, Market Square. It's the lack of a system. If there is a system, you're going to find out that less than 10% of vehicles per hour, per 30 minutes, will be in the ranks, and no need for actually heavy use of the toilet. We need toilets at the holding bay. But right now, all this is in place. We have written documents to the council several times. To us, it's like a chorus. We just wonder why all these things are not being implemented. Something that is not across Limpopo. Something that is just across Shanghai River, Bulawayo. We are not implementing it. City of Harare officials, they went to Bulawayo and actually gave advice to Bulawayo. The system that is running in Bulawayo actually originates from the Harare City Council. But why is it that they don't want to actually implement the same system here? We are here for things that we should not be here for. We should be here discussing road safety issues, where we discuss how can we reduce actually road carnage. But we are discussing about how someone can enter into your vehicle. This is gross lack of systems.
He speaks about the lack of systems, which probably many of you might agree with. Let me bring in again the passengers, Mr. Goliath. We have seen passengers boarding buses from undesignated places. You go to Konach, I'll give, for example, where Warren Park, for example, Konachinoy Street and Jason Moyo. That's not a rank, but every day that's where commuters are picked at. What is happening? Why do, if you also go to Joiner City, near Joiner City, from there you will see quite a number of passengers waiting there to be picked, and you see obviously also combis as well as private vehicles picking passengers from there. Why do we see passengers boarding buses from those undesignated areas?
chekutanga ndinoda kuti Harare yadiki taane manyoro resettlement ako vanhu vawandisa zvinhu zvasina kuplanwa zvinhu chese zviri kuitika izvi uye zvakare chinhu chiri kunyanyonetsa chacho tine vamwe vanhu vakatopindawo mutransport sector nebackdoor vari kufanira kuinforsa zviri kuitika izvi vanadzo motikari dziri pamushikashika idzi saka kuti asunge motikari yake achizoti ane motikari iri kumushikashika ari kuda kuita mari akukombita nevanhu vari compliant kudhara saka paakunetsa manje kuti ndiani achabata achabvisa vanhu ava because varamba vanenge varipo chimwe chinhu chatinacho chatikuona ndechekuti national transport policy is outdated ndoparikuda kutanga kugadziriswa ipapo zvoita cascade zvichienda kuma-councils yatinayo haichafambirani nezviriko makada kutarisa kuti iwo ma-councils ayo Harare for example havana transport policy. The only seat in the transport policy in Zimbabwe iBulawayo. Zvinhu zvavo zvakarongeka although zvinhu kwaane vanhu vakabva kuHarare vakuita musikanzwa vanhu vakukwira pamuri kutaurira ipapo vakukwira muzvikona kona asi ivo vakarongeka vakanokwirira panzvimbo ipapo ndopavanoenda kunokwirira vasiyana neHarare kuti unoona vanhu vachikwirira dotted around Harare. Chimwe chacho inyaya yecorruption kuvanhu vari kufanira kunge vachitibatsira kuti zvinhu zvacho zvirongeke. Tikada kutarisa ndingangotore mutemo wacho council yacho nevanofanira kutibatsira vemutemo wacho vamwe wacho pane magemu avanenge vachiita ipapapo nekuti motikari idzodzo nyange dzakasungwa sei hadzingobve uye zvakare isusu vafambi tiri kuita dambudziko ratinaro poor state of mabus terminals makuona kuti isinawo an industry tichatosiyira vamwe vanhu kuti vange vachishandira imomo because zvinhu zvaakuitwa is no longer a rank yangofanira yasiya so inoona mumwe achitengesa fuel murengi mumwe ari kutengesa muri kutotengeswa fodya muri kutengeswa doro hapana ari kumborambidza zvinhu izvozvo. Council is supposed to enforce but they are not enforcing. Vanotomirira zita rapi inge ichiuya because mabylaws yokuti varidzi verengi icouncil vanofanira kunge vachibvisa zvinhu zvisingafanira kunge zviri murengi imomo. Kugezera bhazi murengi imhosva iyoyo inofanira kuenforcwa necouncil. Havasi kuenforsa zviri kuita magas cylinder arimo vanhu vakutiza zvakawanda kutsva nemagas cylinder azara mumarengi imomo mune zvakawanda zviri kuitwa mumarengi imomo vanhu vakutya. Mwada kutarisa ndingati magunduru ndoma vakutambira imomo shuwa munhu anganoda kunokwira mumagunduru takavanyorera tsamba dzakawanda chikomplaina kuti mamiriro ezviteshi haachaita hamuna mafloodlights in the evening ende muri kuitika zvinhu zvakawandisisa zvatofunga kuti haichazi marengi fumeenzaniso ngatingoende murodport chemo muri kuitika zvinhu zvokutakura vanhu munotengeswa matiketsi munoitwa sei unongoona kuti bhizinesi racho ndere kutakura vanhu but murengi manje hauchanyatsonzwisisa kuti munoshandei chii chinofanira kunge chiri murengi zvokuti everyone ari ngowo murengi imomo munhu ari kuita zvinhu zvaari kuita imomo mumwe ari kugadzira matai hapana ari kumubvunza mumwe ari kutengesa doro.
So it seems from the conversation that we are having in this studio, it seems that issue of systems that are not in place and also issues of enforcement of probably the bylaws that are already there that are not being enforced. So it's unfortunate. My producer tells me that we had invited the Harare City Council to be with us, and unfortunately they could not make it. But we would have wanted them to be in the studios because most of some of the issues here they are supposed to be enforcing. But we have the Consumer Protection Commission in the studio, and they've got the numbers. If you look at Mr. Goliath, if you look at the notice that was issued by the commission, there are numbers that are are there where consumers, including passengers, can report through those hotlines cases of abuse. In your experience, do commuters actually feel safe, or are they making uses of such reporting mechanisms where they feel abused? What stops people from coming forward, and what could encourage more reporting?
Ndoda kutaura ndichikushanda zvakanaka ndingati Consumer Protection Commission. Isusu takaona zvatinge tawana semapassenger, tinovapa voinvestigator, votaura kana kuti angava maoperator kana kuti necouncil. Izvi zvinotanga tine nyaya yesuwa kumbari kwangu kuchiyerera suwa isingaite. I think vakatibatsirawo kuti kunge vachigadzirisa nyaya dzesuwa kumbari ikoko. Tine nyaya dzakawanda dzatiri kuvapa zuva nezuva patinotoita communication. Zvatinenge tawanawo zvimwe zvatisingakwanisi kunge tichiita kuti zvigadziriswe nesu, tinovapa ivo ndivo vanozonogadzirisa. Nyaya yekudhonzwa kwevanhu tiri kuvapa nezuro. Tanga tino imwe futi nyaya yakaitika muGweru yekuti vanhu vakanga vachishungurudzwa vasvika kuGweru. Mabhazi anenge atsika kwekuti pane mabhazi anosvika muGweru ozotambidza vamwe vavo kuti vange vachiendesa kuBulawayo, vachisvika kuBulawayo. Saka pakazoita mawindi anga akushungurudza mapassenger. Vakanga vava mubhazi imomo for almost 1 hour 2 hours, bhazi isingasumuke kuenda kuBulawayo. Saka zvinhu zvakaita noise muGweru nezuro zvinhu izvozvo. Saka takavasendera zvinhu izvozvo kuti vange vachiinvestigata. Tiri kuedza kutaura nemaoperator. Pane mumwe maoperator asingataurike nawo zvachose, vari to violent. Anditi vari to violent. Toda kutenda kuti ZPTO maoperator ariko ndingangoti about 90% tingobatana, tingokuafonera, totosolva maproblems acho, tototaura nawo, towirirana zvinofanirwa zvichiitwa. Tiri kufara, but pane vamwe vashoma vasara vanoda kushandisa chisimba, kuti even takavaudza kuti pakati tiri kuitwa zvakati havakwanisi kunge vachititeererawo izvozvo. Saka ndo dzimwe nyaya dzatakuendesa Consumer Protection Commission kuti vange vachitibatsira nyaya idzodzi, vange vachishedza vanhu ivavo, vachitaurwa navo kana vachifaindiswa. Ndo zvinhu zvakutoitika. Nyaya dzatisingakwanisi kuhendula isusu nemaoperator ationa kuti haya tinongoendesa kwavari. Tatanga taedza vamwe totoita kutonyorera tsamba kuti tiri kuita tine zvichemo zvakati, vamwe vanototiedza kumaofisi, togadzisa nyaya idzodzo, towirirana. Kana tawirirana tinoudza futi Consumer Protection Commission kuti taitawo zvakati nekambani yakati. Ngangoti nguva dzapfuura takatombonyora kuRoad Motor Transport, tine mabhazi atainyunyuta nezvavo aisira vanhu munzira, pozoitika violence panyaya dzemari, vanenge vabhadharirwa mari isina kukwana kuti vazingopedziswa kuenda kuBulawayo, vopiwa mari shoma, wonzi kwakudiwa imwe mari yoto top up. Ndo panga pakuitika ndingangoti kurwisana kwemapassenger nemacruise. Uye zvekare mawindi anozonge akupindirawo futi zvekare vachirwira vanhu imomo naNagweri imomo, mabhazi asingaende.
Yeah. So it seems from the passengers' point of view, the consumer point of view, a lot of work is being done to make sure that they report incidents of abuse and mistreatment from I will not say from the transport operators, but from the windies and the touts, who unfortunately also will be working, so to speak, on behalf of the transport operators. But we have heard from Mr. Maguraminga to say, we also do not want to work with them. We want to work with systems that are official and formal. And in your notice, Mr. Mderere, we now want to talk about enforcement and the role of the Consumer Protection Commission. And in the notice, that it states that the Commission will partner with law enforcement agencies. Can you give us specifics? What does that partnership look like in practice? Will we see the Commission and police officers physically present at major terminals?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharara, for bringing up that question. I think to begin with, I need to highlight that what prompted even this discussion and the notice that we gave us that we actually have a WhatsApp group, which is very vibrant WhatsApp group, where we've been receiving numerous complaints from these consumers. and also even other general complaints that we've been receiving, the one that was also be coming from Mr. Goliath through the Passenger Association of Zimbabwe. So what we have done in terms of our strategy going forward, we have said, right, yes, we have received these complaints, and we have got the instruments to deal with these issues that have been raised by consumers or the committing public. The first thing that we are going to do is that we are going to partner. Actually, we have written to the police. Tomorrow we actually have a program where we want to go in all the ranks. I think we're also going to invite you guys so that we are also part of this. This is a new beginning to us. We are going to start with education and awareness. So, tichafamba marengi ese, tichiudza vemabhazi, makomitas, kuti no, makomitas, tichivaudza kuti mune kodzero dzenyu dzekuti musambonyikidzwa, hafanira kuharaswa, hafanira kumanikidzwa kukwira bhazi rausingadi kukwira. So that's what we're going to do first. So we're going to start with Harare. Because Harare, I think, from what Mr. Goliath is saying, is the one that is got this a lot of chaos. Blawayo is a bit organized in terms of these issues. So we are going to start with education and awareness, starting tomorrow. So we'll go to 4th Street. Today, the Ranamala speakers. This is my consumers, this is your rights. Transport operators, these are your obligations in terms of the law. Then we'll go to Mtari. I think in terms of the ranking that we've done, after Harare, Mtari is the second one in terms of notoriety. And then we'll go to this other, we'll go to Chinoi, we'll go to all the 10 provinces. So we'll start with education and awareness. Towaudza, ma consumer towaudza, ma transport operators towaudza. So that's number one. That's what we're going to do. Then number two, we are going to have an all stakeholder meeting or a workshop where we are going to call the City Council, invite the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Local Government, the Transport Association, the Passenger Association, every stakeholder who is involved in carrying passengers. So we're going to do a one-day workshop where we want to hear, because we also want to claim that we are the experts, we know everything. What we have is the law at our disposal. So, but usually in terms of the Consumer Protection Act, I think if asked about the issue of stakeholders, we're talking about law enforcement agencies like Zimbabwe Republic Police, because in terms of the law, when we do enforcement, we enforce with the police. Both the police have got the arresting powers, and then we have the instruments, and the one that prepares the docket so that someone is taken to court. So definitely, and we are going to make it a news item. We are going to make sure that some people have been arrested for harassing passengers, for doing all those intimidation, coercion, all those things that are happening. It's coming. It's not like it's a threat. It's coming. But we'll start with education and awareness. Then we have stakeholder engagement. Then number three, we now do enforcement. Like I've talked about subsection 4, under section 35, subsection 4. Just actually, yes, a penalty. I think if you look at the notice, there's a penalty, but otherwise we'll talk more about it if we still have time. But there's a penalty provision where someone who violates section 35, who do intimidation, coercion, physical force, all those unfair tactics, is liable to prosecution, is liable to a fine not exceeding level 5, or imprisonment for a period not exceeding 6 months, or both such fine and imprisonment. So we've got the instruments. So tatu vanhu vasazochema kuti vanoti onai commission ye angosunga vanhu iri kuendesa vanhu kujeri, shuwa munhu angosungirwa parengi. But that's why we are, so starting point, I really want to thank Zim Papers for agreeing to have this kind of audience. So doma tatotanga, nhasi kutotanga tatotanga ne podcast, tomorrow totanga ma awareness. After Heroes, we accelerated the awareness, we do our workshops, and then now we've got a team of inspectors who are empowered in terms of Section 70 to deal with these shenanigans. But we'll be working with them. So that you are talking about kuti kata kusunga mabhazi. It's not discuss. I think they are now our friends. I'm happy. But I'm happy that now we know them.
Now we know them.
So now we can work together. But I think I think he said Mr. Matunga. He said
Makuraminga, yes.
Makuraminga. I liked what he said. Systems.
Systems.
I think just put systems, efficient, council, the responsible authorities, to get some system. Akuna munhu achaharaswa. Develop where they do it. Why can't we do it?
Yes.
We've got the capacity.
So we have got 19 minutes before we round up the show, and we are not alone here in the studio. We also have audiences in the studio. We've got passengers, commuters. We've got also other transport operators that are in the studio with us that might wish to contribute to this conversation. So if you so wish to make any contributions, you are free to make any contributions. I don't know, we have got transport operators in front here. Maybe they might want to make some contributions. I'm not sure if my technical guys have got, we've got the mic, a roving mic. Yes, if you can give to me, maybe you can introduce yourself and then you can make your contribution.
Okay, thank you. I'm Caleb Dominic Bepeta. I'm the Vice Chairman of GACO, Greater Harare Association of Commuter and Bus Operators. Right, from what I've gathered from my colleagues who are part of the panel, is that there is now more than sufficient transport for our consumers. I think that's good news for the Commission, for starters. But what I've seen to be the problem here is the fact that there isn't enough enforcement, right, on the ground. That's why people are then subjected to harassing when they are trying to board transport for their favored destinations. So at the end of the day, it's unfortunate that the enforcement team is not here from the City Council as well as from the ZRP. Otherwise, they could have been in a position to react and see to it that there is enough enforcement that is going to be done with the holiday in sight, so that people won't be afraid to be boarding buses this holiday. As you can see that shoving and pushing for buses is a thing of the past. There's more than enough buses. What is lacking is probably the timetables and for the buses to be carrying passengers at designated points, plus doing it orderly with time as a limiting factor. So going forward, I think the future is bright for Zimbabwe. There's so much buses. All we need is to be organized, put systems in place, and then move forward as a country. Thank you.
Thank you for that contribution. And if there's anyone else who wants to make a contribution, yes, you can introduce yourself, sir, and you can go ahead with your contribution.
Tinotenda ndoitwa Pius Chitsenga, ndakamirira Zimbabwe Union of Drivers and Conductors. Ndotenda nemukana wamatipa. Zviro kwazvo mumaranks medu hamuna kutimira zvakanaka. Chikuru chandaona ndechekuti ndikada kudzokera kumashure, tanga tine Salisbury United, right? Ikazwa Supcon. Chandaiziva ndechekuti bhazi harimirire munhu murengi, vanhu ndivanomirira bhazi murengi. Sezvataurwa mambobvunza nenyaya yeCoventry kuti kune rengi, that yakagadzirwa zvakanaka ichinzi is a holding bay, kwete kuti kunotakurirwa vanhu, asi kuti kana wauya waburutsa vanhu woenda kunozorora uri kuko, woita pre-trip yako zvakanaka kusina anokuvhiringidza, wodaidzwa kubva ikoko kuti kumabvuku kwane vanhu takuda bhazi, mabhazi mairi kana kuti rimwe chete. Zvinova zvisiri kuitika izvozvo. Ndo yatanga yambotaurwa kuti system iri kuleka, nokuti once tashandisa that system zvinoreva kuti council now pairi kubhadharisa marank disk, iyo ndio ine mandate yokubata basa iroro. But iko zvinezvo vari kutora mari woisa muhomwe dzavo, hawana service yavari kupa kuma operators. You get what I mean? Right, ukatarisa murank iko zvinezvi, dambudziko ratikuita muno muZimbabwe nderekuti tinonzvenga chokwadi, tobhabhadzira chokwadi kuti hai zvinongo zvinoita, because ndikazvitaura vasharara vanozoti taita dambudziko iroro, hatina kwatiri kuenda senyika. Kana chida kuti zvinhu zvedu zvifambe zvakanaka, ngatiti a spade is a spade. Murengi iko zvinezvi council haitorina kana simba, wari kutomutya kune varidzi werengi as we speak. Council inogona kukupa permit kuti uri kuenda kuMount Pleasant, but varidzi verengi vari murengi iko zvinezvi anokutaura kuti haurode panapa because mota dzangu dzakakwana dzawandisa, but iwe wabhadhara mari yako yese zvese zvinodiwa paperwork yaita operator apedza, koita mumwe munhu anongotaura kuti hautakuri pano because mota dzangu dzawandisa. What is that?
Thank you for that contribution, and I think, Mr. Mdere, as you can see, it seems that there are gaps in terms of the regulatory side, the policy side, the enforcement side, and obviously your colleagues in other arms of government. You're talking about the Harare City Council, you're talking about the police in terms of enforcement. Are we likely to see, probably, I know you spoke about going on educational campaigns and awarenesses, are we likely to see you signing probably memorandum of understanding with your colleagues in terms of enforcement so that the systems are in place? Because as I can see, your job is made difficult because, as we have seen, the representative of the drivers and conductors, they also do not want to work with touts. The operators, they also do not want to work with touts. They also feel harassed. The passengers are also feeling harassed with those touts. So the consumer, obviously, that's where you come in to protect the consumer. But as we have seen in this conversation, probably you can't do it alone in terms of protecting the consumer because even the operators themselves are also being harassed and intimidated. Are we likely to see maybe signing off MOUs with other government arms of government?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, in fact, definitely, I liked what my colleague said. The drivers and conductors association. We really appreciate your contribution. So, in terms of the law, we've got our section 87. It actually allows us that. That's actually, it is actually specified that the commission is supposed to enter into agreements with other regulatory authorities. So I think we are right. It's like we've read the Consumer Protection Act. So what we are going to do is that in order to make sure that this thing is effective, because it's not supposed to be a talk shop. What's the reason why we've started this discussion? We don't want it to be a talk shop. We want it to be effective. We want to come up with the practical. But the reason why we've called these other guys is to say we are not the experts, but our role is to make sure that everyone is happy, every consumer is happy. How now do we solve this problem that we have in our midst? We now have these passengers, we now have the associations. So going forward, we are going to make sure that we engage everybody. We need to see results. But when we're talking about Vision 2030, this is actually part of Vision 2030. Harare United, which we talked about, we want to retain. We want standards. I think for the guys that I work with, they know me. My motto is that we want nice. We want
nice things.
Yeah, we want nice things. Even the document that we write at our office to check in terms of paragraphing. So which we need to really put our foot. So guys, I think we need to put our foot down. Let's work together. And I'm happy that I think there's a question that we've asked on the other players who are not here. We say us. Throughout today's papers, throughout the City Council for Minister of Transport, Minister of Local Government, the police, everybody. So to that round number 2. Yes. Is 1. Takuda 2 yacho. But wangavasipo yes. So if I want them now to bring them on board, we really need it. In our rule, when we are discussing with the board, they say you don't need to do a lot of things. One chaput some results.
Yes, thank you for that. And as Zimpepers, we are the most diversified media house in Zimbabwe. As we are speaking, this program is being live streamed across all our platforms. And so we have got our radios and our newspapers tomorrow. This will be one of the stories in our papers. So yes, as you say, this is round 1. Round 2 is coming. And those who are not here that we had invited, I'm sure they are now seeing that they should have been here to answer for themselves in terms of the enforcement as well as putting systems in place. Maybe as we get to the end of the program, I want to give the gentleman in the studio yes, there's someone who wants to make a contribution.
Mr. Sharara, if you could allow me to maybe divert a bit from the topic.
You can go ahead.
I'm noticing that some commuter or minibuses are still overcharging. Let's say for a distance of about 16 k's, how much is it supposed to be? How much should be charged?
I think the question also speaks to the fact that kukanaya mafiza akwira kukangodai. He wants to respond.
All right, thank you for that question. You know, the unfortunate part is the pricing of commuter bus was deregulated, right? It was left to the competition to decide. So it's unfortunate. We cannot say there's a yardstick at the moment to say for a distance of 5 kilometers you charge so much. What the government did was to open up the market so that it could be open to competition, and that will entail benefit the consumer, who is the commuting, who are the commuting public. But it's very, very unfortunate that at the moment there's sort of cohesion amongst us as operators in coming up with fares, whereby we are not competing as you were. But it's unfortunate that we are all charging the same thing, and we are colluding and doing the same thing. But at the same time, it's not prohibited. It's not prohibitive at the moment because there is no regulation to govern how much should be charged for a certain distance in commuting. It's unfortunate.
Thank you.
I think you answered.
The mic to the gentleman. Yes.
All right.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Less than a minute.
All right. My question was directed, is being directed to Mr. Maguraminga. As we wait for the regulation and everything, I remember I have a relative who is out there. I was talking to him over the phone, and he was saying, I'm about to go to work, but I'm checking on the app. The bus is about 2 minutes away, so I'll go to the bus stop this time. So, Mr. Maguraminga, can we also adopt technology, just like the InDrive app, whereby maybe we have someone, I mean, let's say I'm going to Warren Park, but I'm at Belvedere. I can check on the app to see where the combi is. If it's still in town, I can book it so that maybe when it's departing from town, it have maybe 1 or 2 places for me. I don't know if it can help for technology to assist.
The use of technology. And before you respond, there's also another contribution coming from our audience. Maybe that's the last contribution from our audience.
Thank you. Yes. This is directed to Mr. Chigome. I wanted to ask, there is some talk that says those buses are umbudzi ku showground. The people are not donza vanu vanobhadharwa something nema buses. So I will not mention the buses, but I will tell you that I had a first-hand experience with my mother. Ndakawaperekedza kumbudzi vachifanira kupinda mune bhazi ravakanga vachidara vanodisisa. Ivo vakazviwa vakapinda mune rimwe bhazi, luggage kapinda mune rimwe bhazi. But the whole incident yakaitwa hayo pamberi pemapurisa asipo pano. Ndachida kuziva kuti pane kauchokwadi here kekuti varidzi vemabhases vanotobhadharwa vanhu vanotora vanhu kuti vakwanise kumita matargets avo.
You can go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. There are a lot of dynamics dziripo. Vanhu vari kutsvaga mabasa vakawanda vakasiyana-siyana. Ndofunga kumabhasis mukatarisa vakawanda isi takafungidza kuti tikapa vashandi vedu mainfo, we can easily identify kuti uyu ndewe-CAG, uyu ndewe-Africa, uyu ndewe-chii. But because vakomana vaya vanenge vauyawo vachibva kudzimba vachitsvaga mabasa, anoziva kuti ndikangodhonzawo 1 conductor yashandipa $1. I-agreement dzavo dzavari kuitirana conductor these other people. But chandanga ndichikumbira kuti dai tataura inyaya yekuti hatina nzvimbo dzakanaka dzekulodhera munyika. Tiri kungorelaya nenzvimbo dzakangoiswa pasiripo ma-undesignated places. Dai tadevelopa ma-ringing facilities zvakanaka, kutaura kwese kunogona kupera. This is why makona mama-operator akutotsvaga nzvimbo dzekuti vaite pavanolodhera away from Mbare, pekuti munhu atozati ndikaenda, I will give an example, toti CAG kana kuti Igulaina kana kupi, vanongoenda nzvimbo idzodzo bozarozati handina kwandinodhonzewa. But dai iri seroadport, nzvimbo yakanaka inoita kuti munhu wese apinde pasina kudhonziwa kana kuita sei. Saka as a country, let's move away from thinking kuti Mbare ndo yoga inofanira kuloderwa. Munhu obvere kubhindura uko achinanga kuMbare, kana abva kumabvuku achida kuenda kubhindura oenda kuMbare. Ngatitsvagei nzvimbo yakanaka yovakwa rengi yakanaka inoita kuti vanhu vekumaCentral, vanhu vekumaWest, vanoenda kwaMutare
and I don't know, maybe mungatoziva ndimi pane yakanga yavakwa kuNational Sports Stadium uko hatinozomboziva zvakafamba sei, yavakwa zvakanaka ezvinoreva sango abero kuti mune mhinduro yazvo here. All right, you can go. There was also a question for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're happy that we are hearing from the customers, our kings themselves. On fares, I want to make it very clear, there is no reason why someone has to be overcharged. The fare that was prevailing during the morning, during the afternoon, must also prevail during the peak hour, even when there is rain, even when there is congestion. But what we advise the members of the public who are our customers is that whenever you see that there is congestion, be patient in your ranks. Sometimes you support this system. We need to work together. If you try to wait for those who are overcharging, maybe you wait 10, 15 minutes, united as you are, with your money in your pockets, I tell you, you will see those fares coming down. I get back to what he was saying. There are more vehicles on the market. Why do we need a shift in the price if there is a shift downwards for the demand? Oversupply of vehicles. The laws of demand and supply must apply. But now I come back to the solution. We need a fair regime. The residents, the customers, the associations, the government overseeing, and the city council, we must sit down together and come up with the right fare, which can be enforced. In the absence of this, definitely we have more complaints. And also, today we have gathered with more stakeholders here, 80% of stakeholders. And the most important thing is that the passengers are here. We have heard that touting is not happening in combi ranks, where anyone can actually side with me that you are not being actually forced into a combi, but maybe someone will be shouting. This is the element that we just need to actually to remove nuisance. But we need now to see the commission actually writing to the enforcement department, whether it is ZRP or city council. There is enforcement, but you now need to direct operations together with the enforcement, where the enforcement ask you the problems that you are actually facing, and they actually give a solution through enforcement, which is actually originating from your problem. Then that way we can actually solve this problem. Because right now I can say we've got drivers, conductors who are being arrested. We've got operations for touts through the council, through the ZRP, and I think you have seen them going to the courts, paying $100, spending 6 months, but it does not. We have not seen the problem actually being solved. So we need the involvement of the commission whenever there is the enforcement of this, where we will see the right people being arrested. The reason why we're having this every day is that a driver is not a touter. A driver is not harassing people.
Thank you, Mr. Maguraminga. Yes. Now, there's the operators, they said they don't want to work with the Windies. They have been harassed as well. The passengers, they also say that they have been harassed. Maybe one also issue which they cannot run away from, the operators as well as the drivers and conductors, where it pertains to the consumers as well, where the driver then decides to drive against oncoming traffic. They decide to drive outside the roads. Is that something that the Consumer Protection Commission can also come in and make sure that passengers, which are consumers, are taken care of, and instead of being endangered through such practices? Yeah,
thank you so much. Yeah, it's something that we are supposed also to look at. What I can say is that today it's only that there are a lot of things that are happening. Even otherwise at no time. Even look at 4-4. You know, they say if an error is repeated several times, it becomes a norm. Munakatokwira mota zvezvi ndakambukira kombi vanobhagara 3 passenger ndakatoti aiwa pane vanashara ashota. So we are saying there are a lot of issues here. This is matter. We need to resolve those things. So it's a whole gamut. I think we are going to do a paper, really comprehensive. Mutiva contributions, our contributions, to the central government. and we deal with these things. Tine problems actually is even prompt. We actually did the research. They also prompt us with all those things and looked at as for harassment and all those things.
Nekugadzirisawo panyaya yemahwindi iwe. Isusu tati atidi kushanda nevanhu vane unhu usingaite. Tati isusu vana vakaorganizana varida kudya kumba kwavo, we know, because this is an issue of food and drink or butter or patable.
Bread and butter
So,
issues,
exactly.
yes.
Saka tikuti vakarongana vakaita association yavo ikaita MOU necommission ikaita MOU nema-associations or kupinda ma-associations. That can be meaningful kwete munhu anongomira ega asina regulation.
Thank you, Mr. Maguraminga. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but we have got round 2, as he said. Let me take this opportunity to thank you, Mr. Maguraminga, for taking your time to be with us. Mr. Chigome as well, thank you for taking your time to be with us. Mr. Goliath, thank you for coming through, as well as our main partner for this conversation, representing the Consumer Protection Commission, that's Mr. Mudereri. Thank you so much for making this conversation happen. And before I close, I just want to say, for those who have been watching and those who are listening through our various platforms, we want, since he promised round 2, we want you to go and report. So these are the numbers that you can get through to the commission. They've got a toll-free number, Econet, that's 08080323, or a net one number, 080-12301, or a hotline, 0719-176-856, or 861 or 865, or you can go on their website, that's the Consumer Protection Commission, and come up with solutions. We also we have been live streaming this on our Facebook page and all our platforms. You can go there and also comment and make your contributions there, and we'll make sure that they reach to all our panelists here, the transport operators, as well as the commission itself. So that's what we had for you this evening. Going into the evening, of course, for today. But as we have promised, we will continue to have this conversation until there's order and systems in place within our ranks, as well as safety and dignity for our passengers. Bye-bye for now.